Shedeur Sanders' debut game revealed as Browns decide Dillon Gabriel's QB depth chart. At every turn, they've written him off. Coming out of high school, they said he was just Deion Sanders' son. With Jackson State, they called him soft. In Colorado, they said he'll get exposed to elite defenses. His response: he threw 13,000 yards in high school. Won Freshman of the Year at Jackson State. Broke the single-game passing record in his first game with Colorado, at the end of which his father appeared in the interview area singing, "I've got receipts," just so that he could point his finger at the doubters and ask them one single question. Do you believe now? People will say that Deion is Shedeur Sanders' biggest cheerleader, and they will be absolutely right in saying so. But nobody can argue that Coach Prime hasn't pushed him to get better. Put him in situations where expectations are high. At the NFL Combine, Deion said, "Pressure is a privilege," and Shadur has been through a chamber of pressure. After all, he's in a four-way standoff with Dillon Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Joe Flacco. There have been 100 debates about who will be QB1 for the Browns. And the time has come for this chapter to close. Or at least that's what the dog pound is hoping for. To get a closure. Mary Kay Cabot from Cleveland.com believes that the preseason will reveal who will be the starting QB for Week 1. By the time the Browns practice against the Eagles on August 13th and 14th, it will be easier to see which way the Browns are leaning. Shedeur Sanders will likely see game time during this fixture with Dillon Gabriel. Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders will likely split that game, probably in that order, and they can both gain some ground in the competition. I just think it needs to end sooner than later to get the starter ready to play. The preseason matches will uncover the rookie's capability in a pressure environment. While Shadur has already faced pressure from being in the spotlight, how well he can manage to do it on the field will tell us whether he's reliable or not. He needs a "do you believe now" moment to catch the HC's attention ahead of the regular season. By the end of the Philly game, Stefanski will probably have all the data to choose his starting QB. After all, he's not just getting data from the preseason, but also from their performance in the training camp that'll start soon. The weeks ahead will be a crucial one for Shadur. A break or deal moment. If he can perform at a high level, from the training camp to the preseason games, he'll be a sure bet for Stefanski's roster. Competing against a fellow rookie and two veterans, he will have to show that he can stand on top. While Shadur is confident, posting on Instagram, saying that it's time to be legendary, he will have to show it, like he's done so far, to gain Stefanski's trust. As Shadur moves to solidify his position in the race to QB1, the question that remains is, what will happen to the others? Shedeur Sanders makes his move. Is it checkmate for Dillon? While Dillon hasn't been in the spotlight much compared to his counterpart, he is also a heavy favorite in the Browns' QB locker room. Being picked 2 rounds earlier than Shadur, Stefanski clearly saw something in Gabriel. It even got him to have more 11-on-11s during OTAs and minicamps compared to Shadur. But the battle isn't just between the two of them. They have 2 veterans to compete with as well, Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. According to Mary, Kenny Pickett still has a slight edge in terms of being number 1 on the depth chart heading into training camp. Kenny did get a championship ring with the Eagles last year as the backup QB after all. He was effective whenever Jalen Hurts needed relief. Whether he will be effective as a starter is something we'll have to wait and see. But if Kenny is QB1, the rookies will be the backup for him. Mary believes that the 2 rookies will make the 53, and one of the 2 veterans might have to sit out. If Kenny is her number 1, that puts Shadur and Dillon in the backup position. Joe Flacco, the one left out. Flacco is coming from a bad season with the Colts last year, compared to his run the year before with the Browns. The table below summarizes his production over the past 2 years. If Stefanski doesn't believe he can make a comeback this season, it is likely that Kenny will be QB1. Dillon will have to prove he's a more reliable option than Kenny Pickett if he wants the starting job. Until then, he'll only play as backup. His superpower in the competition is his computer-like processing speed and decision-making, Mary said. During spring practices, including rookie minicamp, organized team activities, and mandatory minicamp, Gabriel looked solid and held his own. Gabriel went 48 of 83, throwing 8 touchdowns in the OTAs and minicamp combined. If the traits that Mary described can be translated into the preseason games, and then the league, we might actually see Dillon Gabriel as a starting quarterback. The summer haze over Berea finally broke on the morning the Cleveland Browns called a team meeting that felt different from the rest. For weeks, All of training camp had been a theater of uncertainty. Every pass, every snap, every whispered conversation in the hallways of the facility was another brushstroke in a quarterback battle painting itself in real time. At the center of it all were two young men. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie with the unteachable poise and a last name heavy with legacy, and Dillon Gabriel, the undersized but electric gunslinger who had steadily climbed from unknown to contender. Now, as players filed into the auditorium, a rumor was already spreading like wildfire. Today's the day they decide the depth chart. Kevin Stefanski stood at the front, arms folded, his usual calm demeanor masking the gravity of the announcement. Cameras weren't present. This was family business. But inside, you could feel the weight of expectation pressing against every wall. Shadur sat in the third row, leaning forward, elbows on his knees, his eyes locked on the coach. To his right, Gabriel adjusted the tape on his wrist. The words "prove them wrong" scrawled in black marker, a mantra he'd carried through every rep of camp. "Men," Stefanski began, his voice steady, "this camp has been one of the most competitive we've had in years. You've pushed each other. You've made us better. And now we've got decisions to make." The announcement. It started with Dillon Gabriel. Stefanski spoke his name with respect, listing the ways the quarterback had impressed. His quick release, his pocket awareness, his willingness to lead. "Dillon," Stefanski said, "you've earned your place on this roster. You'll open the season as QB2, right behind our starter. Stay ready, because you're one snap away." A ripple of applause moved through the room. Gabriel nodded, absorbing the words, though there was a flicker of disappointment in his eyes. He wanted more. But in that moment, he was also proud. Few had believed he'd make it this far in an NFL camp, and here he was, one heartbeat from the field. Then Stefanski turned his gaze toward Shedeur Sanders, and the room seemed to hold its breath. "Shadur," he said, "your debut game is coming sooner than you think. You've earned it. Week 3 of the preseason, against the Philadelphia Eagles, you'll be our starting quarterback." The room erupted, not in surprise but in energy. Helmets tapped. Linemen pounded the backs of chairs. Receivers hooped and hollered. And Shadur, still leaning forward, finally allowed himself a smile.